A dimly lit bar in the city. The hustle and bustle of the night is evident. She, 22 years old, petite, with tired eyes and a determined expression, is cleaning tables while keeping an eye on the clock. At the bar, she scrubs a table while a coworker approaches her. Coworker, you've been at this all day? Don't you ever take a break? Her, breaks don't pay the bills, Maria. I'll rest when the night's over. Still saving for your mom's hospital bills? Her, nodding, voice soft. And my tuition. If I can just finish this semester, I'll graduate and find a better job. Coworker, you're a fighter, I'll give you that, but don't burn out, okay? We need you alive. She chuckles weakly, her exhaustion evident. The camera lingers on her determined face as she heads to the back room. At home, she returns to a small, cluttered apartment where her sick mother lies on the bed. The mother smiles weakly as she enters. You're home late again. Her, setting down groceries. Just a double shift, nothing new. How are you feeling today? Better now that you're here. They share a quiet, tender moment as the weight of their struggles looms over them. A private VIP room in the bar, a fateful mistake. She is asked to deliver supplies to a private room. She hesitates but agrees. Coworker, the VIP room is dark. Some rich guy wanted privacy. Just leave the tray and come back. She enters the room unaware it's occupied. Inside, a man, him tall, late 20s, sharp features, sits slumped in a chair, his face obscured by shadows. He's clearly under the influence of something. Hurdled, oh, I didn't know anyone was here. I'll just leave. Before she can leave, he grabs her wrist, his grip firm but unsteady. Don't go. She tries to pull away, but he's too strong. The camera cuts away, focusing on her fearful eyes and his desperate grip. Aftermath. The next morning, she wakes up in her tiny apartment, visibly shaken. On the table is a bank card he left behind. She stares at it in disbelief. Her to herself, what just happened? Who was he, and why leave this? She shoves the card into a drawer, determined to forget the night ever happened. A small clinic. She sits nervously in the waiting room. Doctor, congratulations, miss, you're pregnant. Her face crumples in shock and disbelief. Her, no, this can't be happening. Doctor, are you okay? Do you need someone to talk to? Hers forming. No, I'll figure it out. Confiding in Maria, she tells her coworker about the pregnancy. Maria, what are you going to do? I'll keep the baby. It's not their fault. I'll raise them, no matter how hard it gets. Maria hugs her, offering silent support. 5 years later, she has graduated and works at a decoration company. Her son, 5 years old with her bright eyes and his father's mole, is playful and full of energy. Son, Mommy, look. I drew a picture of us. She smiles as he holds up a crayon drawing of a house with stick figures. Her, that's beautiful, sweetheart. One day, we'll have a house just like that. Her resolve to provide a better life for her son is clear. A prestigious project. Her boss assigns her to a high-profile wedding project. Boss, the groom's family is one of the wealthiest in the city. Don't mess this up. I'll give it my best, sir. She starts preparing for the meeting, unaware of what awaits her. First meeting. She walks into a conference room where the groom waits. The moment she sees him, her breath catches. He looks exactly like her son. Her, it can't be. He looks just like Ethan, even the mole. You must be the decorator. I'm looking forward to working with you. She avoids direct contact with him, afraid of confronting the truth. Coworker, you've been acting weird around the client. Is everything okay? Her, I'm fine, just focused on the job. Clues begin to surface. The bright and modern office of the decoration company. Her desk is cluttered with sketches and floral samples. Ethan, her 5-year-old son, is playing with crayons in the corner while she finishes her presentation. Ethan meets him. She is reviewing notes when a deep, familiar voice speaks behind her. Him, you must be working overtime. I didn't expect to see you here this late. She freezes, her hand gripping a pen tightly. Slowly turning around, she sees him standing there, his sharp suit perfectly tailored, his eyes curious and faintly amused. Her, I wanted to finalize the design before tomorrow's meeting. Ethan, noticing the new presence, runs up to her. Ethami, look! I drew a castle! He holds up a messy but colorful drawing. Her face softens as she crouches to admire it. Her, it's beautiful, sweetheart. He crouches next to her, observing Ethan with an unusual intensity. Him, your son? She nods. her body visibly tense. Him, kneeling to Ethan's level. Hi there, what's your name? I'm Ethan, who are you? He chuckles, extending a hand to the boy, who eagerly shakes it. I'm Adrian. Nice to meet you, Ethan. As he straightens, his gaze lingers on the child. Something about Ethan's features. His eyes, his smile, and even the faint mole near his lip tugs at Adrian's memory. His expression becomes thoughtful, almost suspicious. Him to her. He's a charming kid. You must be proud. Her. I am. He's my everything. Adrian's growing curiosity. Adrian returns to his office, unable to shake the image of Ethan. He pours himself a glass of whiskey, his thoughts racing. Adrian. Ethan, that mole. It can't be. He retrieves his phone and scrolls through old messages, searching for a clue. He finds a photo of himself from years ago, the same distinctive mole visible on his lip. His brow furrows as doubt begins to creep in. Adrian confronts her. The next day, Adrian visits her while she's working on the wedding decor. She is arranging floral samples when she notices him standing silently by the door. Mr. Carter, I didn't hear you come in. Him, we need to talk. He gestures for her to follow him to a quieter part of the office. She hesitates, her heart pounding, but eventually follows. Him, I have some questions about your son. Her eyes widen, and she grips the edge of a chair, her knuckles turning white. Ethan is none of your concern. That's where you're wrong. He looks familiar. Too familiar. That mole near his lip, it's identical to mine. She gasps softly, but quickly tries to mask her reaction. That's a coincidence. Lots of people have moles. Him, maybe, but it's not just the mole. His smile, his eyes, they remind me of someone I used to know. Someone I met 5 years ago. Her breathing quickens. She knows she can't evade this much longer. You're imagining things, Mr. Carter. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do. She tries to leave, but he steps in front of her, his voice softening. If he's my son, I deserve to know the truth. Tell me, is Ethan mine? Tears well up in her eyes, but she doesn't respond. She brushes past him and leaves the room, leaving him standing there, conflicted. Maria's advice that evening, she vents to Maria at home while Ethan sleeps. He suspects Ethan is his. I didn't know what to say. Maria, you've been keeping this secret for years. Maybe it's time he knows. What if he tries to take Ethan away from me? What if he doesn't believe me and calls me a liar? Maria, you've done everything for that boy. No one can question your love for him. But Adrian deserves to know the truth, and so does Ethan. She falls silent, staring at a photo of her and Ethan on the table. Adrian's suspicions grow. Adrian sits in his luxury penthouse, staring at the photo of Ethan he took discreetly on his phone. The resemblance to himself is undeniable. His fiancée walks in, noticing his distracted state. Adrian, what's wrong? Him, I think I have a son. She freezes, her expression hardening. Fiancé. What are you talking about? Him, the decorator at work, her son looks just like me. I can't ignore it. Fiancé, you're just feeling guilty because you're marrying me. Don't go looking for excuses to back out. This isn't about you. If he's mine, I need to know. She storms out, leaving him deep in thought. The mother's dilemma. At home, she tucks Ethan into bed. He looks up at her with sleepy eyes. Ethan, Mommy, who's my daddy? Her heart clenches as she strokes his hair. You have me? Sweetheart, that's all you need to know. Ethan, but I want to know him too. As he drifts off to sleep, her tears fall silently. She knows she can't keep the truth hidden much longer. The turning point. The episode ends with Adrian showing up at her apartment unannounced. She opens the door, startled to see him standing there, his expression a mix of determination and vulnerability. Him, I'm done with guessing games. We need to talk about Ethan, now. Her small apartment, late at night. Adrian stands at the door, his face a mix of frustration and determination. She hesitates before stepping aside to let him in. The confrontation. They sit across from each other in the living room. The silence is heavy, broken only by the soft hum of the refrigerator. Him, I'm not leaving until I get answers. Is Ethan my son? Her hands tremble as she grips the edge of the couch. She avoids his gaze. Why does it matter now? You're engaged. You're about to start a new life. Him, it matters because I have a right to know. If he's mine, I won't turn my back on him. Her eyes well up with tears. She knows the truth can no longer be hidden. Yes, He's your son. But you wouldn't know, would you? You left me that night without a word. Him? Left you? What are you talking about? Her anger boils over as years of pain resurface. That night in the bar, you were drugged, but that doesn't change what happened. You ruined my life, and now you want to play the hero. Adrian's face pales as he pieces together her words. He stands abruptly, running a hand through his hair. I didn't know. I didn't even remember her. Convenient, isn't it? Forgetting while I carried the weight of everything alone. The camera lingers on their pained expressions as the scene fades. A father's determination. Adrian's resolve. Adrian returns to his penthouse, pacing restlessly. His fiancée notices his agitated state. What's wrong now? Still obsessing over that decorator and her kid? Her kid is my son. Ethan is mine. She freezes, her expression turning icy. What? Are you sure? Him. She admitted it, but I need proof, a DNA test. You're willing to jeopardize our engagement over some low-class woman and her child? Adrian glares at her, his voice sharp. This isn't about you, it's about Ethan. I'll do what I have to do. The DNA test. Adrian approaches her at the office the next day. She's hesitant but agrees to the test for Ethan's sake. Fine, but don't expect me to trust you. Ethan, oblivious to the tension, happily chats with Adrian. Ethan, are you my mommy's friend? Him? Something like that. The camera captures the bittersweet moment as they interact, highlighting Adrian's growing attachment to the boy. The confirmation. The DNA results confirm Adrian is Ethan's father. He's both relieved and overwhelmed as he holds the report. Him? He's really mine. He immediately heads to her apartment where she is preparing dinner. She opens the door reluctantly. Him, the results came in. There's no doubt. Ethan is my son. She nods, her expression guarded. I never lied to you. Him, I know, and I want to be a part of his life. I missed 5 years. I won't miss any more. Her eyes soften slightly, but she remains cautious. This isn't just about you, Adrian. It's about Ethan. He's my world, and I won't let anyone hurt him. Tension with the fiancé. Adrian tells his fiancée he wants to be involved in Ethan's life. She's furious. Are you serious? You're willing to ruin everything we've built for some illegitimate child? Ethan is my son. If you can't accept that, maybe we shouldn't be getting married. She storms out, leaving Adrian deep in thought. The family meeting. Introducing Ethan to the family. Adrian decides to introduce Ethan to his family. His parents, however, are less than thrilled. Father, this is your son, born out of wedlock. Mother and his mother, who is she, some barmaid? Adrian defends her, but his parents make it clear they will only accept Ethan, not his mother. Father, the child is innocent, but that woman has no place in our family. Him. You don't even know her. She's the reason Ethan is healthy and happy today. The argument ends in a stalemate, with Adrian vowing to stand by Ethan and his mother. Building trust. Adrian begins spending time with Ethan, taking him to the park and helping him with school projects. Slowly, she starts to see a softer side of him, her watching them from a distance. Maybe he really does care. One evening, Adrian walks her home after picking Ethan up from school. Thank you for letting me be a part of his life. Her. You've surprised me, Adrian, but I'm still not sure I can trust you. I'll earn your trust no matter how long it takes. The DNA test fallout. The DNA test results are in, and Adrian confronts her again. She has been avoiding him for days, uncertain about how to move forward. Him, holding the test results. It's confirmed. Ethan is my son. Her face falls, her emotions torn between relief and fear. Her I know. So why didn't you tell me sooner? Defensive. What did you expect me to say, Adrian? That night, it was a mistake and you left. You didn't even remember. He steps closer, his voice softer but filled with an underlying urgency. I know now, and I want to be a part of his life. You're not getting it. This isn't about you fixing your past mistakes, it's about Ethan and me. The tension between them is thick, but there's a flicker of something else, something that neither of them can deny. Conflict with his fiancée. Adrian returns home to confront his fiancée. She's sitting on the couch, waiting for him. So, what did she say? Did you finally find out that Ethan is your son? Yes, and I'm going to be a part of his life. She stands up, her eyes narrowing. You're seriously choosing some random woman and her bastard child over our engagement? Over our future? Him. This is about family, and whether you like it or not, Ethan is my family. You're not even thinking straight. You're going to ruin everything. I'm not staying in a relationship where I'm second to a child you barely even know. She storms out, slamming the door behind her, leaving Adrian standing in the quiet of his apartment, his heart torn between his duty to his son and the crumbling relationship with his fiancée. Her decision. The next day, she meets with Maria, her trusted friend. Maria has been encouraging her to open up to Adrian, but she's hesitant. I don't know what to do, Maria. Adrian wants to be in Ethan's life, but I'm afraid. What if he leaves again? What if he's just playing some kind of game? You can't predict the future, but you can decide what's best for you and Ethan. Don't push him away if he truly wants to be there. She looks down at her hands, anxiety swirling in her chest. She knows Maria is right, but the fear of being hurt again makes her second-guess everything. Adrian's persistence. Adrian arrives at her office unannounced, his demeanor resolute. She looks up, startled, as he enters the room. Himley, I know you're not ready to hear it, but I need to say this. I'm here for Ethan and for you. I know I messed up in the past, but I'm not going to walk away now. Her eyes well up as she stands, overwhelmed by the depth of his words. But I'm scared, Adrian. I can't just trust you like that. Him sincerely. I'll prove it to you every single day. I'm not going anywhere. She looks away, unsure, but there's a softening in her eyes. She's not ready to open her heart fully, but she can't deny the sincerity in his voice. A dangerous situation, the fiancé's ultimatum. His fiancée shows up at her apartment, her face filled with frustration and anger. She slams the door open, confronting her directly. You think you can just take him away from me? You think he's going to choose you over me? This isn't about you. This is about a child who deserves a father. Oh, right. The little bastard who will ruin everything. He doesn't belong in our world. Her temper flares as she steps closer, her voice dangerously low. Her Ethan is more of a man than you'll ever be. And don't you dare talk about him like that. The fiancé storms out, leaving behind a trail of tension. The kidnapping attempt. Late one night, Adrian receives a panicked phone call from her. The fiancé, enraged, has taken Ethan from the park while she wasn't looking. Adrian races to find them. Her, frantically on the phone, she took him! Adrian, she took Ethan. Him, urgently, stay where you are, I'll find him. The scene cuts to Adrian finding the fiancé in a remote part of town, holding Ethan in a car. Him, angrily, approaching the car. What the hell do you think you're doing? He doesn't belong with you. He'll never belong with you. She tries to drive away, but Adrian forces her to stop. He pulls Ethan out of the car, clutching him tightly to his chest. Him, you're safe now, buddy. As they stand there, the fiancé glares at him with a look of pure hatred. Adrian knows this is just the beginning of a long battle for his son, the attack. The following day, her private life is exposed online. Someone, likely the fiancé, has leaked her past, painting her as a loose woman who seduces men for money. The internet erupts in criticism, her reading the comments, devastated. I can't believe this. They're calling me a slut, a gold digger. Maria tries to console her, but the damage is done. Her reputation is shattered in the eyes of the public. Maria, that's all lies. You know who you are. Don't let them break you. Her, tears streaming down her face, but they don't care. They'll believe anything. Adrian steps in, overhearing the conversation. His anger flares as he reads the cruel online attacks. Him, to her. You're not alone in this. I'll stand by you. Let them say what they want. We'll fight this together. The emotional weight of his words brings a small sense of comfort. But the storm is far from over. The truth comes out. Adrian calls a press conference. Standing beside her, he declares to the media that she was raped, that the night at the bar was not consensual, and that she is not the woman they've been making her out to be. Him, firmly to the camera. This woman is the mother of my child, and I will protect her. Anyone who spreads lies about her will have to answer to me. The crowd murmurs in shock, but the truth is finally out. The media begins to shift its narrative, and public opinion begins to sway in her favor. Her, waitful, Thank you. Him. I told you I'd never leave you. The cold reception. Adrian invites his parents over for dinner to introduce them to Ethan. The atmosphere is tense, as his parents remain visibly uncomfortable with the situation. Father, so this is the boy? The one you say is your son? Ethan, not understanding the tension, smiles brightly and shakes his grandfather's hand. Hi, Grandpa. Father, hi, kid. Adrian watches nervously, hoping for a warmer reception, but his father remains cold. Mother. And his mother? Where is she? She's with him. She's a part of this family, too. The tension is palpable. His parents exchange glances, uncomfortable with the idea of accepting someone from a lower social class. Adrian feels torn between his family and the woman he loves. Her struggle, later. The mother of his child walks Ethan to his room, her face strained after the awkward dinner. I don't know if I can handle this, Adrian. They won't accept me. They look at me like I'm a mistake. They'll come around. It's just going to take time. She pauses, her hand resting on the doorframe, her voice trembling with emotion. I don't want Ethan to feel unwanted. He deserves more than this. He deserves a family who's proud of him. Him, taking her hand gently. You're more than enough for him, and I'll make sure he knows that. Don't worry. The fiancé's manipulation. Adrian's fiancé, desperate to keep control, begins spreading lies about the mother of his child to his colleagues, subtly insinuating that she's only after money. Fiancé, whispering to a colleague, she's a gold digger. I've heard rumors about her past. She's just using Adrian to climb the social ladder. But she's not like that, is she? Trust me, she's dangerous. You'll see. Adrian won't even realize what's happening until it's too late. Adrian overhears part of the conversation, and his anger boils over. He confronts his fiancée in his office, his voice low and threatening. Him, if you're trying to destroy my family, you're going to regret it. You can't choose her over me, Adrian. You'll ruin everything. He takes a deep breath, the weight of the situation heavy on his shoulders. Calm, but firm. I'm done with this. If you want to destroy what we had, it's over. The fiancé's face hardens with anger as she storms out of his office, leaving Adrian feeling conflicted but resolute. Her fear of rejection. The mother of his child visits Adrian's office later that day. She's been receiving cruel comments online, and the pressure is starting to take a toll on her. I don't know how much longer I can take this. It feels like the whole world is against me. Him, you're not alone in this. I'm here for you. You've been so strong, but you don't have to do this by yourself. She leans into him, her tears falling freely as he wraps an arm around her. I'm scared, Adrian. What if this all falls apart? It won't. I won't let that happen. We'll get through this together. The fiancé strikes again. In a shocking turn, the fiancé kidnaps Ethan in an attempt to force Adrian to choose her over the mother of his child. She takes Ethan to an isolated cabin, threatening to hurt him if Adrian doesn't comply. You don't belong with them, you belong with me. Ethan, please, I want my mom. Adrian's phone rings. It's his fiancée, her voice calm but twisted with malice. You want your son back? Then leave her. Leave that woman and marry me. That's the only way he'll be safe. Adrian's heart races as he races to find Ethan, unable to believe what he's hearing. Him, shouting through clenched teeth, you don't have a say in who I choose. I'll be there, and you'll regret this. He storms out of his office, determined to save his son and finally put an end to the fiancé's destructive grip on his life. The rescue. Adrian arrives at the cabin, his voice steady but filled with anger as he calls out to his fiancée. Him, let Ethan go. This ends now. The fiancé steps out from behind a tree, holding Ethan at arm's length. Ethan's face is pale with fear. You're too weak, Adrian. You'll never make this woman your family. But if you want him back, you'll have to choose me. Him, I don't need to choose between you and my son. You've lost. With one swift motion, Adrian steps forward, grabbing Ethan and pulling him into his arms. The fiancé, humiliated, stumbles back, realizing she's lost everything. Episode 24. The truth revealed, the final confrontation with the fiancé. Back at Adrian's apartment, He calls the police to handle the fiancé's actions. As they take her away, Adrian turns to the woman he loves, his eyes filled with regret. I'm sorry for everything. I let her manipulate me for too long. I should have been here for you and Ethan from the start. You're here now, that's all that matters. She looks down at Ethan, who's now safe in his arms. You're safe, baby. No one is going to hurt you again. Rebuilding together. The next morning, Adrian and the mother of his child have breakfast with Ethan. The atmosphere is finally peaceful and they begin to talk about the future. How about we go on a little trip this weekend? Just the three of us? Ethan, really? Can we go to the beach? Adrian and his partner exchange a quiet look, the weight of their struggles still fresh but now balanced by the warmth of their growing family. That sounds perfect. Family acceptance. Adrian's parents, after seeing how deeply Adrian cares for his son, begin to soften. His father extends an olive branch, inviting the mother of his child and Ethan to their home. Father, I've been hard on you, but you're family now. Let's start over. The mother of his child, hesitant but moved, accepts the invitation. The tension begins to melt away as they share a meal together. The awakening, Adrian is finally beginning to understand the full depth of his feelings for the mother of his child. He takes her out for a quiet dinner, away from the chaos of their lives. Looking into her eyes, I never realized how much I needed you until now. You've been my anchor through everything. She smiles, the hurt from the past still lingering but slowly starting to heal in his presence. I never wanted this to be messy, but I'm glad you're here now. They share a quiet moment before Adrian takes her hand across the table, their connection growing stronger. It's been a long road, but I don't want to keep fighting anymore. I just want to be with you for real. Her heart flutters at his words, unsure whether to believe it, but the sincerity in his eyes tells her otherwise. Family dynamics. At a family gathering, Adrian's mother tries to engage with Ethan, her tone hesitant but kind. Mother, trying to soften her voice, you've got your father's eyes. I'm glad you're here, Ethan. Ethan. I like you, Grandma. The family atmosphere feels warmer as Adrian's parents begin to make an effort at seeing the love between Adrian, his son, and the mother of his child. They start to understand that family isn't about wealth or background, but love and acceptance. The fiancé strikes back. Even though Adrian has ended things with his fiancée, she's not done causing trouble. She spreads false rumors about the mother of his child, further poisoning the media with accusations of her being a homewrecker and money-driven. Fiancé on a social media post, this woman has been deceiving Adrian, trying to tear us apart for years. Don't believe the lies. The public outcry intensifies, and Adrian sees how deeply these accusations are affecting the woman he loves. She's beginning to lose faith in the idea of a future with him as the pressure mounts. Her visibly upset, scrolling through her phone. Do you see this, Adrian? They're attacking me again. I can't handle this. This has to stop. I'll make it stop. We're going to clear your name once and for all. Adrian's decision. Adrian holds a press conference, publicly defending the mother of his child, rumors, and finally announcing his commitment to her. Confidently to the media, I'm here today to set the record straight. The woman I love and the mother of my child has been through enough. It's time for the lies to end. The press conference is a turning point, and the media, once skeptical, begins to back off as Adrian takes a firm stance in defense of his family. He stands with the woman he loves, no longer hiding his true feelings. The fiancé's attempt. Adrian and the mother of his child return home one night to find Ethan missing. Panic strikes their hearts as they realize the fiancé was behind the kidnapping attempt. They immediately go to the police. She has him. We need to find him now, Adrian. We can't wait. Adrian's fear turns to rage as he realizes that the woman he once trusted is capable of such evil. He's determined to get Ethan back safely, no matter the cost. Confronting the fiancé. They track down the fiancé to an abandoned warehouse. The confrontation is heated, with the fiancé refusing to let go of Ethan. Fiancé. You think she's better than me? You're nothing but a pawn in her game. You're out of your mind if you think I'll ever choose you over my son and the woman I love. He reaches out to Ethan, his eyes filled with desperation and love. Finally, after a tense moment, he pulls Ethan into his arms, saving him from the fiancé's grasp. You're safe now, buddy, I've got you. The fiancé is arrested for kidnapping and endangering the child, and Adrian breathes a sigh of relief, knowing his family is finally safe from her manipulations. Healing together, Adrian, the mother of his child, and Ethan spend a quiet evening at home, the storm finally passing. Adrian looks at his family, a sense of peace washing over him. We've been through so much. I don't want to go through life without you. Her? I don't want to either, Adrian. They hold hands across the table, their hearts finally aligned, the pain from the past beginning to heal as they move forward together. Public apology. Adrian publicly clears the mother of his child's name, issuing a heartfelt apology in front of the media and the public. He calls out the lies spread by his ex-fiancée, setting the record straight once and for all. On television, I've made mistakes, but I will not let anyone tear apart the family I've built with the woman I love. She's my partner, and we are going to move forward together with our son. The apology is met with mixed reactions, but Adrian's heartfelt words begin to shift the public's perception. They finally begin to see the truth of his relationship, and the couple feels hopeful for the future. Family bond. The mother of his child and Adrian have a quiet moment in their living room, holding hands as they look at Ethan playing in the corner of the room. They've come a long way, and though there's still healing to be done, they know they have a future together. Gazing at Ethan, I never imagined it would be this hard, but I can't imagine my life without you two in it. We've been through hell and back, Adrian, but together, we can get through anything. A peaceful resolution. Later, Adrian and the mother of his child take a walk with Ethan in the park, laughing and enjoying the simplicity of their newfound peace. Adrian holds her hand as they walk through the park, their bond now stronger than ever. Softly, looking up at him, I'm ready for whatever comes next. So am I. Together, we're unstoppable. A family divided. The mother of Adrian's child is still struggling with the societal judgment, and her emotional scars from the past begin to show. Adrian notices her pulling away as the weight of the media attention takes a toll on her. Concerned, her distance. Hey, you've been quiet tonight. What's going on? Sighing, staring out the window. It's hard to be strong every day. The world doesn't forgive. They see me as just the woman who was used, who got pregnant, and now I'm a part of this scandal. Gently taking her hand. You're so much more than that. Don't let their words define you. Let me help you carry the weight. She looks at him, her eyes filled with a mix of vulnerability and relief. Adrian's commitment to her becomes clearer, and she knows he won't let go. Confronting his family, Adrian finally faces his parents, who have been wary about accepting the mother of his child. The tension is palpable as he sits across from them in their lavish living room. Father, we've supported you, Adrian, but this is too much. You've made a mistake. No, Dad. The only mistake I made was not standing up for her sooner. She's my family now, and I won't let you belittle her. His mother remains silent, eyes soft but conflicted. Adrian's father shakes his head in disbelief, but his tone softens a bit. I never thought it would come to this, but if she makes you happy, then... Adrian looks at his father, his heart pounding, knowing the journey to family acceptance will take time, but he's willing to fight for it. A threatened family. The fiancé, now enraged at Adrian's actions and the public apology, tries to escalate the situation further by threatening to expose fabricated evidence about Adrian's involvement in unethical business practices. She aims to destroy Adrian's reputation to hurt him and the family. Fiancé, smirking, holding up a folder of fake documents. You think this is over? You have no idea what I can do to you, Adrian. Adrian remains calm, standing tall as he assesses the situation. His trust in the mother of his child and their son has only grown, and no threat will shake that. Without fear. I've made my choice. You can't destroy me anymore. You can't hurt my family. Love in the dark late at night, Adrian and the mother of his child share a private moment in their home, talking about everything they've been through. Their conversation shifts into a more intimate moment. Her, softly, brushing a lock of hair from his forehead. "I don't know what I would have done without you, Adrian. You've shown me what love really means." Him, "I don't care about the past anymore. All that matters is what we have now, and I'll spend every day making it up to you." Their lips meet in a tender kiss, their bond deepening as they hold each other close in the quiet of the night. The love between them is pure and strong, an anchor in the storm of their lives. Public backlash. The media continues to push against Adrian and his family, questioning his integrity and painting the mother of his child as manipulative. It reaches a point where they even question Ethan's paternity, fueling public doubts. Journalist on TV. Is Adrian really the father of Ethan, or is this all part of a well-crafted scheme? Adrian watches the news with fury in his eyes, but the mother of his child, though hurt by the accusations, stays by his side, refusing to break under pressure. Her, clutching Adrian's arm, determined, "Let them talk, we know the truth." Him, gritting his teeth, "We've fought too hard to let them tear us apart now. I'll prove to the world who we are, and I'll do it with you by my side." A quiet victory. Later that night, Adrian takes the mother of his child to a quiet, private dinner away from the media frenzy. They share a peaceful, intimate meal, taking comfort in each other's presence. Adrian reaches for her hand across the table. Him, "You're my everything, you know that? Nothing else matters but you and Ethan." Her, blushing, feeling overwhelmed by his words. "I never thought I'd find someone like you, someone who truly sees me, not just the mistakes. I don't care about the past. I see you for who you are, and I'm not going anywhere." A family secret. Adrian receives a mysterious letter that reveals a shocking family secret. His father had been involved in unethical business practices years ago, and this news threatens to shake their family foundation. Him, reading the letter, confused. "This can't be true. Dad never said anything about this." The news rocks Adrian, and he confronts his father. Father, defensive, but shaking with guilt. "I never wanted you to know about that. I thought it was in the past." Him, angry, struggling to contain his emotions. "You kept this from me, and now it's affecting everything I've built. Why didn't you trust me?" The truth about his father's past forces Adrian to confront the very foundation of his family, and he must decide how to handle the situation. A new trust. As Adrian wrestles with his family's dark past, the mother of his child is there to support him. She reminds him of their bond and that they can weather any storm together. Her, "You're not alone in this, Adrian. We've been through too much for you to carry this on your own." Her words ground him, and Adrian begins to realize that despite his father's mistakes, his own path is his to choose. He looks at the woman he loves with renewed determination. Him, "Thank you. I don't know what I'd do without you." They embrace, knowing they can face anything as long as they stand united. A new family legacy. In the final scene, Adrian, the mother of his child, and Ethan sit together, reflecting on how far they've come. Despite all the turmoil, they have created a new legacy of love and resilience. Adrian looks at his son with pride. Him, softly, with his, "You've taught me what it means to be truly strong, Ethan. No matter what comes, we'll always have each other." Her, squeezing his hand. "And we'll keep moving forward together." The three of them stand in the sunlight, looking ahead to a future where nothing can break their family's bond. A tender moment. Adrian and the mother of his child spend the evening together in their cozy apartment, their relationship growing stronger after the intense challenges they've faced. Ethan is asleep in his room, and the couple has a rare moment of peace. Him, "You know, I never thought life would bring me here, with you and Ethan, but now I can't imagine it any other way." "Neither can I. You've shown me a side of love I never knew existed." They share a quiet kiss, their bond solidifying. Adrian brushes his fingers through her hair, his love for her growing deeper each day. The weight of the past seems lighter in these quiet moments, and the hope for their future together becomes clearer. A difficult conversation. Despite the calm evening, Adrian knows there are still unresolved issues with his family. He decides it's time to confront his parents about his decisions, once and for all. Him, sitting across from his parents. I'm not asking for your approval anymore, but I need you to understand something. The woman I love and the child I'm raising, they're my family. And no matter what you think of her or me, I will always choose them. His mother sighs, the weight of his words hitting her hard. His father, however, remains distant, clearly struggling with the reality of the situation. Adrian, you've made your choice, and I can see you won't change your mind, but I'm still not sure about all of this. Him, you don't have to understand, but I will make sure that we're okay. The conversation ends in tension, but Adrian walks away feeling stronger, knowing that he is no longer bound by his family's expectations. The only family he needs is the one he's created with her and Ethan. The return of the fiancée. The fiancée, now embittered by her failed attempts to sabotage Adrian and his family, resurfaces with a vengeance. She decides to take matters into her own hands, planning a final strike to ruin Adrian's life. She begins to manipulate the media once again, this time with even more calculated and personal attacks. Fiancé, to a reporter with a malicious grin. Adrian doesn't deserve to be a father. I know things about him, secrets he doesn't want anyone to know. You can't trust a man like that. The press once again begins to scrutinize Adrian, questioning his character and intentions. The mother of his child watches the headlines with increasing frustration. Her frustrated, "This is never going to end, is it? They'll never stop trying to destroy us." Him, walking over to her, holding her hands gently. "I won't let them. We'll weather this storm together. I promise you." A threatened future. As the fiancé's attacks continue, Adrian realizes he may need to take drastic measures to protect his family. He begins to consider legal action, seeking an injunction against her to stop her from spreading false information. Him, on the phone with a lawyer, "I need you to file for a restraining order. We can't let her tear us apart anymore." The stakes are high, and Adrian's determination grows stronger as he realizes the depth of his love for the mother of his child and their son. He is ready to fight for them, no matter what it takes. The crisis deepens. As the media continues to attack Adrian and his family, the emotional toll on the mother of his child becomes too much to bear. She feels isolated and alienated from everyone, struggling to navigate the public scrutiny. Her, crying quietly in Adrian's arms, "I never asked for this. All I wanted was a simple life, but it feels like they've taken everything from me." Him, holding her tightly, "No one can take you from me. You're my world, and no matter what they say, nothing will change that." He gently strokes her hair, offering her the comfort she so desperately needs. Together, they will face the trials ahead, but Adrian knows that the love they share is worth fighting for. The family comes together. Adrian decides to reach out to his parents one last time, this time with the mother of his child by his side. He's ready to stop hiding and make them see the truth of their relationship. Him, standing before his parents, with her by his side. "I've tried to make everyone happy, but this is who I am now. This is my family, and you need to accept it." "Mother," softly, with tears in her eyes, "I don't know how to let go of my fears, but I see the love between you two. I see that you're a family." Father, sighing, We'll have to work through this, but if this is what you want, then I won't stand in the way." It's a fragile moment of acceptance, but it's a step forward for Adrian and the woman he loves. They know they still have a long road ahead, but they're no longer fighting alone. The fiancé's final act. The fiancée, realizing that her attempts to break Adrian and the mother of his child apart have failed, makes a last-ditch effort to tear them apart by spreading even more lies. She hires a private investigator to try to dig up dirt on Adrian's business dealings, hoping to bring him down once and for all. Fiancé, furious, speaking to the investigator, "You need to find something. Anything. I won't stop until I destroy everything he's built." But her plans begin to unravel as the investigator refuses to get involved, having grown tired of her obsession with revenge. "You're on your own now. I'm not going to ruin people's lives just for your vendetta." The truth sets them free. As the fiancé's schemes begin to fall apart, the truth about Adrian's innocence becomes undeniable. The public finally begins to rally behind him and his family, and the media's attack slowly fades. Adrian and the mother of his child finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing they've emerged victorious. Him, looking at her, with relief in his eyes. We made it through. It's over now. We can finally be free. Her, smiling through tears, hugging him tightly. I don't know how we did it, but I'm so glad we did. A fresh start. In the final scene, Adrian, the mother of his child, and Ethan enjoy a peaceful day at the beach, finally free from the chaos that once engulfed them. They laugh and play together, the future now bright with possibility. Him, smiling at them both. This is what I've been fighting for, our family, our happiness, and nothing will ever take that away from us. Her holding his hand, looking at Ethan. I'm ready for whatever comes next, as long as we're together. Ethan, running to them. Let's build a sandcastle. The DNA test results. Adrian walks in, holding the sealed envelope containing the DNA test results. He approaches her quietly, as if hesitating before speaking. Her heart races in anticipation. Adrian, softly, looking at the letter. I got the test results. Her hands tremble slightly as she stands, unsure of what to feel. Part of her wants the truth, but another part is afraid of the consequences. And? What does it say? Adrian takes a breath, his eyes never leaving hers. He pauses for a moment before speaking. It's Ethan. He's mine. Her heart sinks. She can't breathe for a moment, overwhelmed with the shock. She looks down at the floor, feeling an overwhelming weight of emotions. I never wanted this. I never wanted him to grow up in this mess. It's not a mess, love. We'll fix this together. Her eyes well with tears as she steps toward him, her voice barely upon her emotions. I was alone for so long. I didn't know how to deal with all of this. I never asked for any of this. And softly, I'm not going anywhere. We'll make it work. Confronting the fiancé, Adrian's fiancé bursts into his office, her face flushed with anger. She glares at him with fiery eyes. Fiancé, shouting, voice trembling with rage, you're really going to throw everything away? Everything we've built? Just for her? Just because of that child? Adrian rises from his desk, his voice firm but calm. Adrian, I didn't throw anything away. I'm choosing my son. Ethan needs me. Sarcastic. That woman is beneath you. You know that, right? She's a nobody, someone who's using you. Adrian steps closer, his eyes narrowing as he speaks. You don't get to judge her. You don't know anything about her. And you definitely don't get to tear my family apart. Fiancé, eye burning with hurt. You're making a huge mistake, Adrian. You'll regret this. She storms out of the office, slamming the door behind her, leaving Adrian standing, filled with an unsettling mix of guilt and resolve. His parents' disapproval. The dinner table is silent, the tension palpable. Adrian sits across from his parents, neither of them saying a word. Finally, his mother speaks, her voice low but stern. Mother? Adrian, I can't believe this. After everything, you're choosing her? You don't even know her. She's not from our world. Adrian looks at his parents, a mixture of sadness and determination in his eyes. His voice is steady. I know exactly who she is. She's the mother of my son, and I'm not abandoning either of them. Father, this isn't what we raised you for. You're throwing your future away for a woman who... Adrian cutting him off, frustration rising. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm choosing what's right. This is my son's future, and I won't turn my back on him. His parents fall silent, their disappointment evident. Adrian feels a pang of guilt, but knows in his heart that he's made the right decision. The fiancé ultimatum. The fiancé storms into Adrian's apartment later that night, her face red from crying. She approaches him with a desperation look. Fiancé, Adrian, please don't do this. Don't walk away from everything we've had. You're throwing it all away for someone like her. Adrian stares at her for a long moment, his expression filled with sadness. He wants to explain, but the words don't come easily. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm choosing my son. Ethan deserves a family, and I'm not going to walk away from him. I love you. I've always loved you. Don't you love me too? Don't we deserve to be together? Adrian's heart aches as he looks at her, but his decision is unwavering. Adrian, gently but firmly, I care for you, but what we had isn't enough anymore. I can't ignore my son. I have to be there for him. Her face crumbles, her eyes filling with tears as she turns and walks away, her heart breaking with every step. The kidnapping panic and desperation. Adrian is sitting in his car when he receives the call. His face goes pale as he listens, his hands gripping the phone tightly. Her, screaming on the phone. Adrian, they've taken Ethan. Someone took him. Please help. Adrian's blood runs cold. He immediately starts his car and speeds toward her apartment. Adrian shouting, trying to stay calm. Who took him? Who's behind this? Hurrying, gasping for breath. I don't know. I woke up and he was gone. I'm so scared, Adrian. Please hurry. Adrian slams the phone down, his face set in determination. His thoughts race as he tries to figure out who would hurt his son. He won't let anything happen to Ethan. Online attacks, social media warfare. The next morning, everything unravels. Online posts appear, digging up her past. The comments are vile, judgmental, and cruel. She stares at her phone, unable to comprehend how quickly everything has escalated. Her voice trembling, barely above a whisper. How did it come to this? How did they twist everything? Adrian walks in, his eyes hard with anger. He sees her sitting on the couch, tears streaming down her face. Adrian, voice soft but firm. Don't listen to them. They don't know the truth. They don't know what we've been through. Her. It doesn't matter. They won't ever stop. They'll never see me for who I really am. Adrian sits beside her, his hand gently touching hers. Adrian, reassuringly. I'm here, love. We'll fight this together. You're not alone. The rape revelation. The aftermath of the confession. The room is heavy with silence as Adrian holds her tightly, the weight of her words lingering in the air. Her sobs are muffled against his chest as she lets go of the years of pent-up grief. Adrian's mind races, his heart breaking for the woman he cares about. He pulls back slightly, cupping her face with his hands, as if trying to piece together the shattered parts of her. Adrian, gently with unwavering tenderness, you didn't deserve any of it. No one should ever have to go through something like that, especially not you. She pulls her knees up to her chest, feeling small and vulnerable. Her gaze drops, avoiding his eyes, ashamed of the truth that had been so hard to share. Adrian, sensing her hesitation, kneels in front of her, softly lifting her chin so she can look at him. Adrian, softly but with conviction, you're not broken, you know? I want you to hear that. What happened to you doesn't define you. You're so much more than what that man did. You're strong. You're brave. Her eyes well up with fresh tears as she struggles to believe his words. She lets out a bitter laugh, her voice shaky. Her whispering voice laced with sorrow. I don't feel strong, Adrian. I feel shattered. I didn't tell anyone. I was so ashamed. I thought I could just forget it. But I couldn't. I carried that. I carried it for so long. Adrian's chest tightens as he listens, the depth of her pain striking him deeply. He takes her hands in his, holding them gently, his voice low but steady. Adrian, you never had to carry it alone. I know I can't take away the pain, but I can be here for you. I'm not going anywhere, no matter how difficult it gets. You're not alone in this. She finally looks up at him, her eyes raw with emotion. She searches his face for any sign of doubt, but all she sees is sincerity. The trust in her heart is fragile, but his words begin to heal the cracks. Slowly, she lets herself believe him. I wanted to tell you so many times, but I was terrified. Terrified that you'd look at me differently, that you'd hate me for what happened, for carrying his child. Adrian shaking his head. No. You're carrying Ethan, and he's a part of you. I will never hate you for that. Never. He gently wipes away a tear from her cheek, his thumb grazing her skin. For the first time since the night she shared the truth, she begins to feel the weight lifting, the burden no longer entirely hers to carry. A promise for the future. The air feels different between them now, a mixture of grief and healing. Adrian holds her hands, his heart swelling with a deep, protective love for her. She wipes away her tears, her face softening, as the truth begins to sink in more clearly. Quietly, almost in a whisper. What happens now, Adrian? I'm not sure I can ever fully heal from this. It's too much. Adrian, firmly looking into her eyes. We'll take it one day at a time. I know it won't be easy, but I'll stand by you. You'll never face this alone again. Her heart begins to trust him, her fear slowly subsiding as she looks into his eyes, searching for reassurance, her voice filled with vulnerability. Do you really mean that? I don't want to keep hiding. I don't want to feel ashamed anymore. Adrian softly, but with absolute sincerity. I mean it with every part of me. You don't have to hide anymore. And I'm not going to let you carry this burden alone. We'll figure it out together. She lets out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. She leans in, resting her head against his chest once more, feeling the warmth of his embrace, his presence a comforting anchor in the storm of emotions she's been carrying. Adrian holds her tighter, knowing that this moment is pivotal for both of them. Adrian, we'll face whatever comes next. Together, I'll protect you, and I'll protect Ethan, no matter what. The fiancé's wrath confrontation with the fiancé. The door slams open and Adrian's fiancé enters, her face twisted with rage and disbelief. She stares at the woman, her eyes blazing with fury. Fiancé, voice dripping with contempt. So, this is the woman you've been hiding all this time? The one who's carrying your child? Adrian stands up quickly, his hands outstretched as if trying to diffuse the tension. His face is a mixture of frustration and regret. Adrian, with a calm but firm voice, this is not how I wanted you to find out. But yes, this is the woman who's carrying my son. The fiancé's face turns white with anger, her fists clenched at her sides. And I'm just supposed to accept this? After everything we've planned, everything we've done? You think I'm just going to step aside for her and her child? The woman stands, her voice trembling but strong. Her softly, you have no idea what I've been through. What he's been through. Don't think for a second that I want this. I never wanted any of this. Oh, I'm sure you didn't want any of this. But you're here now, aren't you? Using Adrian's kindness to your advantage. Adrian steps between them, his voice now laced with irritation. That's enough. I don't need you to make this harder for anyone. I'm not abandoning you, but this is something I have to face. Ethan is my son, and I won't turn my back on him. That the fiancé glares at him, hurt and fury twisting in her expression. So, that's it then? You're going to choose her over me? Adrian's gaze softens, his voice firm. Adrian, with finality, this isn't about choosing one of you, but I can't ignore the reality of my son. I hope you'll understand someday. The fiancé glares at him one last time, tears welling in her eyes before she storms out of the room. Adrian's heart aches as he watches her go, but he knows he made the right choice. The family meeting. Adrian stands in front of his family, the weight of the conversation heavy in the room. His parents look at him with disapproval, the tension between them palpable. Adrian, this is a mistake. You can't seriously be telling us that you're going to raise a child with a woman like her. Adrian, trying to remain calm. I'm not asking for your approval. Ethan is my son, and I'll raise him, with or without your support. This woman doesn't belong in our world, Adrian. She's beneath you. Adrian, looking his father directly in the eye. She's the mother of my child, and I won't let anyone tell me she's not worthy. If you can't accept that, then I guess that's on you. His mother shakes her head, and his father turns away, disgust evident on his face. Adrian stands tall, refusing to bend. He knows the road ahead will be hard, but he's determined to walk it for Ethan and the woman he loves. The kidnapping. The night air is cool, but the tension inside the room is suffocating. The woman and Adrian are sitting quietly in the living room, trying to focus on moving forward, when suddenly the door bursts open. Adrian's fiancée stands there, a look of pure malice on her face, and behind her, two of her bodyguards push a terrified Ethan into the room. Fiancé, you think you're going to keep him from me, Adrian? You really thought I'd just accept being pushed aside? Adrian's eyes widen in shock, but before he can react, the fiancé steps forward, seizing Ethan from the guards. She holds him in a tight grip, her hands shaking with fury as she presses him against her chest. I've been patient, but not anymore. If I can't have you, neither can she. Adrian stands up quickly, his heart racing as he takes a step forward, reaching for Ethan. Adrian, let him go. He's just a child. What are you doing? The fiancé laughs bitterly, her voice sharp and dangerous. You think I'm going to let you destroy everything I've worked for? He's mine too, Adrian. You'll never have him, not like this. Adrian's fists clench at his sides, his entire body trembling with fury. He steps closer, his voice a low growl. Adrian, seething, I won't let you get away with this. You're not going to hurt him. This ends now. Without warning, the fiancé moves quickly, pushing Ethan towards the door and calling for her bodyguards to leave with him. The woman watches in horror, too stunned to react, as Adrian sprints after them. The police intervention. The tension is unbearable as Adrian and the woman rush to the police station. Adrian is speaking frantically with the officer at the desk, trying to explain the situation and get help to track down his son. The woman stands a little farther back, her body trembling from the fear and helplessness of the moment. Adrian, urgently, "You have to help me! She's taken my son and she's going to hurt him!" The officer looks at Adrian with sympathy, but there's a professionalism to his demeanor that grounds Adrian's spiraling emotions. "Officer, we'll get a unit on it right now. Stay calm. We'll get your son back. Just give us the details." Adrian nods quickly, his eyes still frantic, before he turns to the woman beside him. She looks devastated, her face pale with the horror of what's unfolding. She takes his hand, needing to feel the connection as her voice trembles. What if we can't find him in time? What if she hurts him? Adrian, holding her hand tightly, "We're going to find him. She won't get away with this. I swear it." The officer nods, then steps away to make the necessary calls. And Adrian pulls the woman into a tight hug, trying to reassure her. His heart aches for her, for the fear that she's holding back in order to stay strong for Ethan. The public humiliation. The next morning, as the police continue their search, the woman receives an unexpected blow. News outlets have gotten hold of the story. The fiancé, in her rage, has gone public with her version of events, accusing the woman of seducing Adrian for money, painting her as a manipulative, loose woman who doesn't belong in their world. As the woman sits in front of the TV, she can hear the cruel accusations and see the social media posts flooding in. Her heart sinks and she can feel the weight of the entire world crashing down on her. Her sobbing softly to herself. They don't know the truth. They don't know what happened. Adrian, who has been on the phone with the police, walks into the room and sees her, her face filled with tears. He kneels beside her, gently taking her hand and looking at her with intense sympathy. "I'm sorry, this isn't fair. They have no idea what we've been through." The woman looks at him, her eyes filled with a deep sadness. She wipes away a tear, trying to hold herself together. They're calling me names, Adrian, saying things that aren't true. They don't care about the truth. They just want to hurt me. Adrian, gently. They're wrong, and the truth will come out. You've been through enough. Don't let them take away your worth. Her breath hitches, and she feels like she's losing her strength. But Adrian leans in closer, pulling her into an embrace, his voice firm with promise. "Adrian, I'll protect you. No one can break you. We'll face this together." The arrest. The scene is chaotic as the police finally close in on the fiancé. After weeks of manipulation and cruelty, the evidence is undeniable. The fiancé stands in front of the police, her face pale as she is handcuffed and read her rights. Adrian watches from a distance, his emotions a whirlwind of anger, relief, and exhaustion. The woman stands beside him, her hand resting gently on his arm as they both watch the events unfold. For a moment, neither of them says anything. Adrian's gaze is fixed on the fiancé, but he's not filled with anger anymore, only a deep sadness. Adrian, quietly to himself, she didn't have to go this far. The woman looks up at him, her heart breaking for the person he once cared for, the woman who has now made such terrible choices. She speaks softly, her voice carrying the weight of understanding. People do terrible things when they feel threatened. It doesn't excuse it, but she must have been terrified too. Adrian turns to her, his face softening as he looks into her eyes. His love for her and for Ethan is all that matters now. He takes her hand in his and squeezes it, knowing they have finally reached the beginning of the end of this long ordeal. It's over now. We can move on. You, me, and Ethan. That's all that matters. They stand together as the fiancé is escorted away, the weight of everything beginning to lift. It's not over yet, but the worst is behind them. And for the first time in a long while, the future feels full of promise. The aftermath. Later that evening, the woman sits in Adrian's apartment, the soft glow of the city lights coming through the window. Ethan is safely with them, playing in the other room. Adrian sits beside her, his hand resting gently on hers. "Adrian, I never thought we'd get here. But we did, and I'm never going to let go of this. Her with a soft smile. Neither am I. I'm not going to let go of you or Ethan. The two share a quiet, tender moment, knowing that the worst is over. They've come out of the darkness together, and the future ahead of them is theirs to build.
Chapter 1 ends here. This is just the beginning of an extraordinary journey in Whispers of Destiny. Stay with us as the tale unfolds, weaving moments of hope, love, and courage. Your support means everything. Be part of the story by subscribing to our channel. Follow Tales of the Moonlight and never miss an episode of this enchanting series. Together, let's explore the magic of destiny under the glow of the moonlight.